Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a gold Ashe player. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A. Fire in the hole! Combat support has been set. Primary objective complete.
Okay, so they're gonna have the sim, but it's not gonna be an early TP. Fine. If you're going for this, you're playing from the porch here, the deck, whatever we want to call it. Like, I get it. I get your concern, but I think you're going to have a much more reliable TNT going back from up here. Like, I'm really not too worried about you getting forced. You've seen their enemy composition. You know that Sim is off the board. You know another TP isn't coming down. You can see that, hey, it's 340, so you can see what their whole team comp is by pressing tab. No one is going to contest you here. Maybe there's some Sim turrets, but who cares? So if you put yourself back here and you drop your TNT from this direction, you are way more reliably going to get a ton of damage done. Calling dibs, this will be about Bob placement and positioning. Maybe.
Smoke them out of there.
Yeah, like TNT, this TNT is like, oh, look, Reinhardt maybe would have been on fire. Maybe, if he wasn't bubbled. Whereas this would be like, oh, look, okay, so Anna shoots us, who cares? We can easily get fat TNTs from back here. Maybe we TNT the Discorded Mercy, that sort of thing. So would have liked to play a little more aggressive there. Totally fine with you backing off, but just because you back off from a position doesn't mean that you can't re-peak that dangerous angle a second and a half later. Like, this is more passive than you need to be. This team has nothing other than these silly sim turrets that contest this angle. And against a team that has D.Va, that has Genji, that can mess you up here, sure, that's a little more annoying and it's aggressive. But this team, now they've swapped into Bastion, doesn't really have any way to deal with you just being an absolute pest, an absolute nuisance to them here. And you playing from here is way better than like your bat playing from here. So like do that. This would make way more sense if you were worried about divas, Genjis, even Tracers coming through here, working their way through, and you're like, no, I need this, or you're worried about widows on the other team or things like that even. This might make more sense, but we're not interested in this. This is a more passive, more defensive angle than this is, and there's just no reason not to take the aggressive one. Yuck, 2CP. I hear you, Blob, but 2CP's never bothered me all that much. I know it's not people's favorite, though.
Double kill. I stick up for my crew.
Okay, we don't really like this. Get back to your cover. So, like, you do want to get yourself back to this spot right here most of the time if you're going to use this area, because you have nowhere to go. Here, you can tuck behind the cover. Here, if you're getting shot at and you're taking damage, you have to like walk forward and then drop and then like go back here or go over here or something. You spend way too long in the enemy's sight line if you start taking pressure.
My ultimate is charging.
I call this player is too safe, takes cover to reload rather than needing to reload, then misses the most aggressive angle to get more value. Okay, replace 2 CP with Team Fortresses, 2's 5 CP. Overwatch hasn't really liked to like actually split up and go cover different objectives things, and the game would play very differently. Like, it could be okay, it would be very different. Right now, team fights kind of work the same between every map type. This is kind of reality. Actually having multiple objectives that actually need to be controlled would change a lot. And that could be okay. That could be interesting. That could be a fine change for 2. But I don't think that's what they're going to do. It would definitely cause different heroes to be more and less powerful in-game modes that are sort of standard one objective control versus multiple objectives active at a time. It would probably make dive heroes too powerful in dive metas, because they tend to be some of the most powerful independently heroes. But it could be interesting. It might create a situation where you see a lot more like divey heroes on the multi-objective control stuff, and a lot more other heroes on single objective control. If I was boosting this Ashe, you'd be complaining? Okay, okay. She means mercy boosting, guys, not, boosting them up to a higher level. This might be a stomp. It could be.
You are advised to move behind all grenades.
Mm-hmm.
Smoke him out of there. Smoke him out of there.
Let it go. Let it go. It's okay. Let it fall a little bit further. I know you don't get to do the super easy toss if you actually have to aim at your TNT rather than press the TNT button and just hold left click. But like, if you look at this explosion's okay, but we probably wanted this explosion a little lower to the ground. A little lower to the ground, more likely to threaten anyone who's standing right here if it's lower to the ground, because it is a sphere. And with how the radius works, this radius is like it reaches over to here. Well, not perfect. We'll try one more time and then we'll give up. It reaches over to here, whereas this radius reaches over to here. So if someone's standing in the distance between these two, in this space, they don't get hit. So like we'd have liked this to drop a little further, so our radius would have taken us more to here down here. And then this radius would have taken us more to like here. And you see how that works? And we can catch extra people. Just let it drop a little more. We would have still been able to get it over the Rhine Shield. Stop yo-yoing, Gold Ashe. Is this a visual bug where the Ashe and Pap were swapped models and abilities and weapons? Sadly, no. Okay. Are we gonna drop and clear threaten from here? Okay. You just took too long to realize that the Mercy was on you. Like, the Mercy's on you, and there's no reason you can't coach weapon to move yourself out of here. Yeah. That was a winnable fight. That's unfortunate.
Objective B.
Better. A little closer to the fight than we wanted to be. You can tuck a little harder to the right. Ryan's got point. No, Ryan's got point. So we look at this, and Bob isn't really going to be amazing for us right now. Ryan is already anchoring point. We can do it because we're down one and we don't want the situation to get worse, but Ryan is already anchoring point for us. If we're going to send Bob out, we have to send Bob out to connect on this so that Bob is on point and is here and is creating a little bit of crossfire for us. But it's not amazing because like our team is already shooting from this direction. We've already got crossfire here, here, and here. Like, it's not amazing. If you're like, we just need ult power right now because we're down one, I'm okay with that, but it should be definitely into this. It should not be, like, you were trying to send it across, and even if you did that, it was going to end up here not touching point, which, again, considering we already have a lot of crossfire going on, like, I really do want it contesting point if that's what we're doing. I think this is just an accident. I think you wanted it to go across to the wall scroll there, not to hit the pillar, but even if that's the case, we actually wanted to go to the light box there. I think Bob needs a VOD. Could be, could be.
In repetition.
Somber EMPing Bob so we can't do something. Mm-hmm. Pump back onto point. Well, there's an idea. But he's gone now. kind of an aggressive Zen, but again,
Smoke 'em
our
out.
Zen is taking advantage of the fact that, so like, here's what we look at. Your opponents are over here and here. 3 of your opponents are still in spawn. We actually do. This is not completely unused space. Like this right here, some people are like, oh, there's so much space on TCP, it's useless, it shouldn't be here, there's just so much space between first and second point. What's the point of that space? Well, the point of this space is literally to let defenders have additional time to poke, to pressure the offensive team that has to rotate through what on most maps are pretty rough spots, pretty rough rotations to get from first point to the choke before second point. Your Zen gets this, and your Zen is like, again, this team can't contest high ground, is not mobile. TP is the only thing they have resembling mobility. So your Zen is playing hyper aggressive over here, and he's even defending hyper aggressively over here. Makes sense to me. Makes total sense to me. Why are you here? We just wiped the other team. Why aren't we up here looking for ways to pressure them? Like, we can pressure this team on the wing. Is there a chance we'll get eliminated if we're standing here? Yeah, there's a chance. But the relative chance of us getting eliminated versus us pressuring it, making this team slower to advance, chancing eliminations on this team, making them figure out, spend resources, spend Rhine Shield, think about spending stuff like reses to get through, bubbles to get through, all that stuff, that's worth it. That's worth it in this case. Now, you might not want to 1v6 pressure these guys, but guess what? Your Zen is also going to be interested in it. And honestly, you have enough pickoff powers, Ashe, that you can consider briefly opening on these guys when they're not paying attention to you. If they're then going to pay attention to you and shoot at you, you close the angle. And if no one else is shooting at them, so be it, you keep the angle closed. But you can absolutely go up here to start and go for, hey, we wiped them. We cleanly wiped them. We do not need to set up here. You're set up for like phase 2 of the fight when they're actually pushing past the choke. And you could have been pressuring them, pressuring them, pressuring them. You can still be pressuring them. You can still be pressuring them. You can still be poking them. I don't care that the Reinhardt is there. He's not going to push you. You can still be pressuring this team. I don't even care what's going on here. You can still be pressuring this team's rotation. Still be pressuring this team's rotation. Okay, now you'd start to think about pulling back to the spot that you're in now. Yeah, so that you're here when they're actually, see, I'm not even looking at you because what you're doing isn't relevant. So that when they get to about here-ish, which now they're at, you're already ready and you're not stuck rotating, not shooting at them when they do break through this. Because it is important that you can shoot at them when they actually do make their push and that you're well positioned for that you don't get caught too close. But like up until basically now, well, up until a few seconds before now, you wanted to be pressuring them on the way, potentially getting pickoff, staggering them, making them spend resources, all that stuff. Temporal, how would you feel about Bob being able to run and gun after people if they leave line of sight? Well, you'd need to balance something about it. Maybe give him less health. Maybe give him less sustained damage. You'd have to do something if you did that. He's not a shooting Moira orb. Toggleable by the Ashe? Probably not.
Smoke 'em out of there.
Team up for special attack.
Kind of shallow. I get you were probably finding your range, though.
Yahi parambasta viktahe.
Thank you, my friend.
Again, shallow.
Вали on the wedding. Огонь по готовности. Огонь по готовности.
Just don't. Just don't. You're going to have an easier time taking out the Ana or the Sim than you are taking down the Mercy. Like, little bit higher. Once you get a little bit higher on the ladder, both your mechanics will likely have improved, but also your teammates' mechanics will have likely improved, and that'll cause taking down Valkyrie Mercies to be a little more real. But this is still gold. Generally just wouldn't bother shooting at Valkyrie Mercies unless you have a hit scan ult, so like a Visor or a High Noon, Or you really see a big opening, like she's discorded and your Zen is clearly shooting at her type thing, and it's clearly hit her type thing. Like, it's generally just not going to be worth it, because look at what happens here. Fine. Fine. Congratulations.
Let them earn.
She definitely, if she had better movement, could have avoided you. The TNT, you know, was good, but she definitely had the ability to get away, but she didn't do it, so hey, we'll deal.
You have to watch out for the 1%.
There we go. So this was always a problem that I was concerned about with being here. You were pretty big on this whole, like, where do you go from here? Generally, you try to play a little more here with Ashe, so that if you get into trouble, you don't play over here. You play a little more here, so that if you get into trouble, you can drop more quickly and get out. Here, you sort of spent a lot of time over here, and now by the time you drop, you're at 20 HP. And it's not immediate after you drop that you have cover, so that doesn't really work. Wait, they still have Bastion? Of course they have Bastion. No, now they don't. They've got Tracer now. But yeah, they had Tracer for a while.
Let's clean up this mess.
I was ready for the Bastion plus Simwall strat. It's OP. Especially on this map. That's true. The coach gun did not help there. Oh, now we're going to punish the rotation. Okay. Okay, so McCree Tracer instead of Sim Bastion. Fine.
Everyone heal up.
Okay. We could have done a Bob split, but that's fine too. Just go behind. You're fine. You're fine. You're winning hard. Do it. Okay, you can't always make the play that we clearly wanted you to make there, which is just, you know, coach weapon, hop yourself over, and have the steep angle, but when you're ahead by 2 to 3 people, you absolutely can. Your team was clearly ready to push. You were not going to get caught out there alone. You were much more likely to get a stagger than to get eliminated. Now we wouldn't want to make this play. In fact, I'd argue the other angle, the other Windows angle, was strictly better for you because you could do a better job of punishing this rotation while still putting some pressure into these guys to the left. Okay. Fine. Now we push up again. Do it! Soldier's got the right idea. You can more easily, like, you have the ability to drop here and pop yourself up here and, like, actually get these staggers more effectively than he does. Just actually do that.
You need to learn the rules.
And I'm not saying just always willy-nilly run into the side of the enemy team, but like when you have numbers advantage and your team is clearly willing to push, you absolutely do that. If you don't, you're leaving stuff on the table, which means less staggers, which means more pushes for the enemy team. Do not shoot Bob at their spawn. It's fine. Beautiful. Okay. Sure.
Don't waste my time.
Unscope. You want your movement speed to get the stagger here. Good. Okay. You better not get capped on here. Bob. Yep. Check left and right? Yeah. How did I know? Get the mini. Get the mini. What? You have 50 HP. You're clearly winning this fight. Just don't mess up. Just don't mess up. It's that simple. We just go, oh yeah, I'll step in here. No problem. No problem. You have more reloading you can be doing anyways. Just go grab the mini. Well, you don't have to reload, but with 58 ammo, you should absolutely be going, yeah, I'm going to reload and get the mini. What? Okay. Doesn't get the mini, you cry. Well, your prediction's looking pretty good right now, Crunch. The lack of aggression is definitely my biggest complaint about this Ashe right now. It's the not recognizing that they can be more aggressive against a team that can't punish them, and when they can be more aggressive against a team that's rotating, or a team that their team has the lead against, a team that their team is aggressing on. Like, the lack of recognizing when they can take risks that aren't really very big risks for the payoffs that they give is concerning.
My business?
And then we had a rough bob, but really just the one rough bob, so not a big deal there.
Personally, but I will see them done.
We did have some positional stuff in terms of we wandered to places where we really didn't have cover we could go to. The center of the catwalk in First Point, that wasn't really a good place to go to. And then similar thing, and it didn't really get enough by going there, and then similar thing on Second, on the catwalk on the right side from Defender's perspective. The center of it isn't our best spot. Oh, that's Val's prediction. My bad, my bad. Was that Val's prediction? Yes. No, you said Bob placement and positioning. Oh, let me check. Let's look at them. Bob placement and positioning. So it wasn't Bob placement. You could call it positioning. But you're right. Val's is more accurate. Too safe, takes cover to reload rather than needing to reload, then misses the most aggressive angle to get more value. Yeah, so you're both talking about positioning, but hers was more specific about it. Yep, Val's winning. Gotta credit Val before she punches you in the face for stealing credit. Smart move, smart move. Bob would have been happy if said enemy spawn. Maybe. So, like, again, we can do this. We can do this. But it would be hard for this team to punish us for going here. Like, yes, they can shoot at us, but we just drop right back down type thing. But I don't mind. I don't mind what we've done. It's acceptable what we've done. Now get the mega, get the mega, get the mega, get the mega. That's not right. I'm not asking you to go like a million miles out of your way to go get health packs, but like, come on. Come on. They're right there. Like, oh, it's 2 steps out of my way? Yeah, probably worth doing. It'll save your support some time. It'll let you play more aggressively. Just please do. I have no desire whatsoever to force this fight from here. Like, none. See this? See this ability? This ability that's off cooldown? Yeah, you know what we do when that ability's off cooldown? We pop up here and shoot the Bastion from here, and then the Bastion has to pick between, do I focus on main, or do I shoot at you? Do I focus on main? Do I shoot at you? The Orisa has to pick between, do I focus on main? Do I shoot at you? Do I throw ults at main? Do I throw ults at you? The N has to pick between, do I heal main? Do I look at you? Do I heal main? Do I look at you? And if too many people make the decision to look at you, no problem. You just drop again, maybe get the health pack in case you took some damage, and then until your coach weapon is available again, you can go back here. But when your coach weapon is available, we peek this against this team. Or at the very least, go back to here. This was still an improvement. Why are we shooting Bastion through 2 barriers? That needed to go deeper. It's a health pack.
Ooh, much better.
Viva reporting in.
Ouch. Sure. You can beat Bastion up for days at this range. You are outside of Bastion's effective range for so many reasons. His spread, his fall off, all that. Just destroy him from here. Do it. You might not do absolute max damage, you might not be thrilled, but like, hey, you're still gonna beat him. You are. Keep doing it. Keep taking your shots at him. I promise. I promise it's worth doing. Oh, he pulled Mercy to him? Fine. You don't need the Mercy. You can stay on the Bastion. You can. You definitely don't need to spend time breaking a barrier. Temporal, what's the optimal gaming chair for this Ashe to go from cold to GM in one easy step? The optimal gaming chair, it's stacking 2 box crates on top of each other and sitting on top of it. That's clearly the perfect one for this Ashe. That's it. You know, two box crates, 2 milk crates, whatever you want to call them. That's the one. Now with the pocket, yeah, I mean, yes, if the pocket is going to stay there, it is going to be very tough at that range to take down the Bastion. But locking the Mercy onto the Bastion is going to have some value. This Bastion is not playing at a super effective Bastion range in general. So like going, hey, we're going to keep this Bastion and this Mercy right here. Team should be able to do plenty with that. But sure, if we want to swip over and go to the Mercy, we can.
Patched up. You need to learn.
Probably not remind them that you're here. Like, they're probably going to remember, but probably not remind them when that you're here, when your team is just gone and they can all pay attention to you. Like, if you could have lurked and just waited there until your team was ready to push again. But that's okay. Yes, she did get a health back. She got 2 this round, actually. She got 1 in the ramen shop earlier, too. Fine. Not gonna check on that health back? Okay. It's there, but okay. You're gonna decide that you want to push into this. You're gonna decide to bob. I don't love it. It's pretty easy for their backline to deal with this bob. It's not the worst bob in the world because at least it keeps their backline sort of dealing with it. Do you know that Ana is that weak? Because if you don't know that Ana is that weak, you just expect this bob to instantly get slapped. Okay, you want to keep them busy while you tear apart the front line to let your team in. Fine. Yeah, the bob gets slapped immediately. We're shocked.
We need to take out that turret.
You're gonna have to circle for Mega. Like, this isn't an option. You're gonna have to circle through Mega and just go, well, I need to get Mega, and I'll use the getting Mega as an excuse to go over here, and I'll win from here.
Heroes never die.
Okay, Valk. Okay, that's quite the Valk. Health backs are your friend, it's true. Owie. So here we are, we're pushing in. Your team's already mostly in. Sure, you're going for this. I got no problem. You decide you want to open on Torb. You wander a bit away from the window here, and you see Torb drop. Torb is now the most important threat. Like, Torb has gotten more aggressive. You have to turn to deal, and you do, but you just wandered too far from your window. And that's understandable. You were trying to use the pillar as cover. I think you probably wanted to be more aware of this window if you were fighting these guys, because you always have the option to drop, change your angle, and then peek at them again. And you like that. You like being able to change the location. Like, if you start taking pressure, I don't like it. Change the location. That's sort of like a power buff, because when you peek a new angle, you get that factor of surprise that helps. But that's okay. Okay, let's hear Blah's list so far. Health packs are your friend is 1. Maybe a 1 asterisk. Don't engage at half health. Get a health pack before you press X till you get heals. Okay. Or press X until you get heals. Okay. I mean, you can peek. Like, you do just as much damage with 130 health as you do with 200 health. Mathematically. In practice, you're willing to take more aggressive positions. You're willing to open angles a little wider when you have more health than less health. So in practice, you do more damage when you have more health. But mathematically, you don't like do less damage as you get less health. So it can be important to remember that and go, hey, I'm still willing to finish these guys off because, like, for example, if you're playing against Widow, she'll eliminate you the same at 130 health versus 5 health versus 200 health. In some ways, assuming she doesn't know how much you have anyways. But hey, that's fine.
Enemy turret ahead.
Letting that
Watch yourself.
stand.
Enemy turret destroyed.
Messy
My
fight.
ultimate is almost ready.
It's a long rotation for a fight that's already happening. Okay.
In range of the objective. Form up on me.
So my objection to this, if this was like early in the fight, this would be a very powerful angle for you, and that matters. But it's not early in the fight. You're returning to this fight, and you're not really getting better shots from here than you would be from here, but you would have gotten to here faster. So I'm totally good with investing. I'm generally good with deepening angles in a fight, but your team is like 1 by the time that you got here. Now, it's starting to flip back. There's a chance that they'll be able to go, hey, we got a couple eliminations, like your Mercy, and we're going to be able to do things off of that. But, like, excuse me, yeah, like your Mercy, and there's a chance they'll be able to do things off of that, but like you're really not getting much different from here than you were from much here, given the time differential in investing. At the beginning of the fight, when the opponents are holding, like here and here, sure, but now that your team has sort of won and pushed them back, you have the same shots from both spots, realistically speaking. Time to leave, time to leave, time to leave, time to leave. They'd have forgotten about you and let you leave. They would have. Revenge of the Valking Mercy. It's not the first time you've reminded them
Let's clean
that
up
you're
this
there when there was a
mess.
pretty good chance they'd have forgotten about you, and you'd have been able to maintain a good angle going into the
My
next fight.
ultimate is ready. Get in there and I will boost you. Enemy turret. Enemy turret destroyed.
Good. Sure. Beautiful. Bob it. Yep. Okay.
Victory.
So I don't think anyone's going to be shocked by what we're covering here. As we look at this, assuming I can get my mouse back, there we go. As we look at this, there's some there's some reasonably good things that we can cover. And what we're going to do is the first thing that we're going to cover was primarily visible in your offense, or excuse me, in your defense, but is definitely important, which is we need to tune the level of aggression to what the enemies can punish and what our team is doing. Like, you don't have I play at this fixed level of aggression. It's not like the correct way to play Overwatch is at 70% aggression. And if I go up to 75, that's wrong. And if I go down to 60, that's wrong. That's not how Overwatch works. You might go, and I'm making up the numbers, obviously. It might be, hey, I can play my hit scan at 80% aggression because my team is being pretty aggressive. And the opponents don't have good heroes like divers to punish me. They're not taking good angles. They're backing up, etc. So I can go up to 80, 90, whatever aggression. And you had lots of that. You had lots of opportunity for that. So we need to tune the aggression both to what the enemies can punish as well as what our team is doing. Like, for example, no, we would not, like we had the option to on defense, pop ourselves up here and shoot at these guys if our team wiped 3 people up here and their team retreated and our team just sat here and tapped their foot and waited. We would not go, aha, and try to jump 3 of them from the side alone. But it was very clear that our team was willing to push in multiple instances, so we go, oh, our team's aggression factors in to our aggression. Cool. The number of opponents that are alive there factors into our aggression. While this might be a standard place to play, we're actually going to go in, we're going to deepen it, we're going to get dangerously aggressive, but it's really not very dangerous because our team is pushing and we're 6v3ing, 5v3ing these guys with an off angle, even if the off angle has no protection other than being an off angle and this ability that you have to drop if things get really bad, which is a little bit of temporary safety. Like, that's okay because of the situation on the board, because of the number of players, because your team is being aggressive. That works. Same thing over here. Hey, you can poke at these guys because they're not paying attention to you yet. You can go, hey, I poke at them. And then if you're the only one poking at them, you go, okay, now they're paying attention to me. Now I stop if I don't immediately get an elimination. But if you have more people helping you poke, like your Zen poking from over here, you might poke on them halfway up until they get a little closer, a little more dangerous. And then you might be done. Then you might rotate back to a more defensive position. And again, we've got the same thing over here, where it's like, this team can't punish you. You took out the sim immediately, they can't punish you. I might leave for a second because I'm missing health. Good idea. Missing too much health, can't maintain the angle. But then you're going to take it right back, and you're going to go, I'm going to drop TNTs from here, I'm going to take easy headshots from here. Oh, you turn and pay attention to me. I close the angle. If I'm missing too much health, I press X. Then I reopen the angle and take you out, clean up, get more staggers. You could have made these guys' offense so much worse just by being like, I'm going to let you have less pushes. I'm going to look for staggers. I'm going to look for extra eliminations. So, like, staggers are a big deal. They add up. You get elims that you wouldn't have otherwise got. You tilt the team because they don't get as many pushes as they like. They feel like they were waiting 30 seconds for their team to push. Then someone else got eliminated. Then they get annoyed and don't want to wait anymore, so they push. And then they wipe, and it's great. It tilts the team. It gives them less pushes. It gives you more ult charge. Like, they're amazing, and you should be seeking them. So, like, staggers are something that we want to cover here, and we want to be like, go for them when your team is winning, but in general, tune your aggression to, is my team willing to be aggressive? Can the other team punish me? Those are important. Like, those are important. And we can do the same thing for your offense. This team's only way to punish you on offense is, oh, they can shoot at you. Okay, well, if they can just shoot at you, you can probably drop pretty easily, go get this health back, go back up. Drop pretty easily, go over here, take your shots until your cooldown's back, and then pop back up here, pop back up here. Like, you do want to tune your aggression to what you can get away with, and you do want to use angles. And I think you mostly get that you want to use angles, but this shouldn't happen. And, like, I think you recognize that this is a good Ashe spot, so you use this as an Ashe spot. But again, it's based on what the enemy team can punish, how much you can get away with. If the enemy team was, scary, sure, this would be a fine Ashe spot. Maybe the enemy team has a Pharah. Maybe the enemy team, has good stuff to punish you, but they don't. So take the more aggressive spot. Like, that's going to be really important. Like, understanding this tuning aggression thing, your most important thing, please work on this. Another thing we can work on, and I know we joked about it a little, but it actually does matter, is, like, again, one thing that controls your aggression level is how much health you have. Well, just get the health packs. Like just get the health packs. If it's gonna take you like 2 steps out of your way to get the health pack to go in, and then you're gonna have full health, or you're gonna have 50% more health, like do that 9 out of 10 times. Maybe if you have a Harmony Orb on you already, you have a Mercy on you already, you're not going to bother taking those 2 steps. But most of the time, you're going to take those 2 steps and get that health back because it's going to let you play more aggressively, which we like. That lets us get good value. We do like to do that. That is important. So, like, actually do get our health packs. You don't have to like go like, oh well, I'm at 197 health. Let me run all the way over here to get a health pack. But like a lot of these situations, it just didn't make sense for you to not get the health pack. It's sort of like sitting here flabbergasted, like what? We didn't get the health pack? That's wild. Like do actually get those things. Those matter. And then the last thing that we're going to get into is just going to be, hey, these angles do matter, and you do sort of get a peaker's advantage when you change angles. You do get a power boost effectively of like, hey, I'm here. I go for this first angle. That's great. I like that. Cool. I don't like it. Maybe you've taken some damage. Maybe there's just too much pressure. You drop. You come over here. It should be super predictable that you're going to come peak this angle next. It should be, but it's not. People will forget about it. It'll be, even though this isn't as good an angle as this was, it's a fresh angle. It's a new angle. So unless your team was all sitting here, which they might have been by the time you got here, you're going to sort of get a power boost, especially if you're going against the opponent that you were going against before, where you're like your first shot or two from this angle are a surprise that are effectively more impactful because they're a surprise. You don't have enemy crosshairs pre-trained on you. And then again, if you get under pressure here, you can leave and then re-peek it, or you can leave, pop yourself back up here, do whatever you want, and get work done. So like changing your angles does have value, and Ashe has the verticality with her coach weapon to do it a fair amount. So anytime you just don't like it, not anytime, but if you don't like it, you should be pretty comfortable changing your angles on Ashe to sort of re-get that fresh peak advantage, as we sometimes call it. So those are really what I'd work through, and I really gave them to you in importance order. The biggest thing really is tune your aggression to what the opponent's composition and positioning will allow, as well as life count, how many of them are alive, and to what your team's aggression will allow. You should be deepening your angle. You should be getting more aggressive as if your team is pushing. Like that's something that you should do. You can't stay back here if your team is pushing. And you fortunately didn't stay back here when your team was pushing, but you can get more aggressive still, and it's going to be worth it. Likewise, punish them on the rotation. Hope that we can get some staggers. Make it hard for them to advance, even if we're not going to get staggers. Make them get annoyed, be under pressure. It's both mentally taxing to them, and it's like actually drains their resources of like, oh shoot, now we have to get up here. Now we have to wait for our Rhine Shield to charge because Ashe taxed us so heavily on the way. Now we have to heal everyone up because Ashe got a TNT on us on the way. So this is delaying time, taking time off the clock before we're actually ready to push. That's what I'm going to give you to work on. It's 3 things. The first one is by far the most important. The second one is kind of funny, but actually like something that you need to do there. And the third one does have some value there. Like does have some serious value. It is something that you'll get to, but I wouldn't start with that. Okay. That's going to do it for this one. If you guys have questions, you can throw them up in chat now. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff. So let me see questions here. When will Flying Sigma come to Overwatch? I saw it in the experimental, and I thought they'd have balanced him and implemented him by now. Obviously, I can't answer that question. Yeah, I was not hired as the replacement as the Blizzard president. Maybe if I had been, I could have told you that. But they brought up 2 internal people, and I say internal, but it looks like they've both been there for like 2 to 3 years or less, because that's how hiring works these days. You promote people who have come from elsewhere. But yeah, anyway, doesn't matter. People who have come from elsewhere, like big time streamers like me no, I'm kidding, but Overwatch coaches. Anyway, bad joke. Okay, so, but it was a bad joke in response to a bad joke, so that's fair. Any more VODs coming up? I don't know. Like, I have something that was running checks that I didn't get to publish last night that I could publish now, or I could do another VOD, or I could go get food before my next session. I don't know the answer to that yet, Crunch. I might tell you in a second. I still think Ashe is a bad version of McCree. I mean, they have different effective ranges, and they actually meaningfully have different effective ranges now. I think Ashe's effective range should. I think Ashe should be a little stronger at range than she is right now, personally, in some situations. Like, I think, hey, trying to shoot into a Bastion that's being pocketed and not doing any damage when you're outside of Bastion's range, you should be more inside Ashe's range, and it should work better. But I think they do have some meaningful differences now. I'd prefer those differences were expanded upon a little bit more. Like, Ashe really is playing into her coach weapon isn't just a worse flashbang. Like, it's not. It is useful for doing what we were talking about in terms of her more rapidly changing angles. She can fire from here, then fire from here. She can fire from here, then walk across and pop up and fire from here. And that's useful for a sniper hero, as Widowmakers will tell you. And she can do that, more frequently, easier, whatever, than Widow can, even if she doesn't have quite the same range with it. So like that's different than flashbang. TNT definitely isn't fan. It works differently. It's not really a she's in close combat quarters with someone. She gets closer to use it, but she gets closer than a normal sniper range to use it. She doesn't. How do I want to say? She doesn't get right up in their face. They're meaningfully different heroes. Oh, right, before I forget, here's your daily reminder for service scrims, Patreon, YouTube subs, and a temporal testimonials channel. Yeah, I appreciate that, Blob. I'll think about that last one. Probably worth doing at this point. Coach Weapon would be so much better if it shot flashbang pelts. Yes, it would. Okay. Um, you can place yourself everywhere on the map. McCree is so static. That is true. Oh, we're low on likes, guys. I'm staring at that like count. We can do better than this. I don't need us to get all the way up to our viewer count, but that's a little weak, guys. There we go. That's a little better. I do appreciate those. Thank you, guys. Okay. I think that's going to do it for this one. I don't know if I'm going to go do another one or not. Let me see if there's anything super interesting out there. There'll definitely be more uploads today. There will probably be another stream today. Yeah, I have time for another stream today. But I don't know if it'll be right after this or if it's going to be later in the late afternoon, evening, etc. Sorry, I forgot to like done now. Thank you, Crunch. Thank you. There we go. We got a couple more there. Good stuff. Okay, that's going to do it, and I will see you guys later. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.